Hello, this is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this podcast series is called Spiritual Immersion, Taking the Plunge. And the intention of these podcasts is to support and empower you in having an extraordinary life. That means everybody having an extraordinary life. We all raised our hands to come here to this planet and have this human experience as spiritual beings. And we came here, I don't believe, to settle, suffer, and survive. I think we came here to actually have an extraordinary life. I think we didn't realize the degree to which we'd have to train ourselves, the rigor it would take to actually go against what we've been trained, what we've been domesticated to believe and live through our cultures, our religions, our race, our gender, our sex, all of that. We've come here to resist that and completely reject that, to find our own truth, your own truth. I'm saying what I'm saying in support of you finding your truth by sharing my truth. And that's all I can do is say, hey, here's some principles that make sense. And here's some principles that seem to be universal for everyone. Here's some principles that are spiritually based from my perspective. You might have different perspectives and different principles. And this is about you finding your own way. And that's a good thing. That's a really, really good thing, because that's what you came here to do. I say, I wonder what it would be like to be Harry McGillicuddy and come into this world, in this body, in this culture, in this reality, and find out who I am in my fullest potentiality. And so whoever you are out there, that's what I believe you've come here to do. And the spiritual immersion process is that we've plunged ourselves into this human experience of uncertainty and development and growth through a physical body, and to explore who we are that's constant and eternal within this body, that's having the experience it's having, both in terms of experiencing humanness and states of being, whether that's joy and bliss or despair and despondence, experiencing love and joy and light, and experiencing despair and death and destruction, uncertainty. We're here to have all of it, experience all of it, and find out who we are inside all of this. I've got a particular client, I'll call her Harriet, since I was talking about Harry, and she's like, there's all these dramas and traumas, and it seems to be getting worse, and it seems to be ongoing. And it's like, yes. And what's true that is beyond all of these circumstances? Again, 2 podcasts ago, going, life is working for you here to provide lessons and opportunities for you to discover what's really true for you in the higher principles and the deeper principles of who are you in all of this. And how do you want to be present in the uncertainty in the world that is? How do you want to show up? How do you want to? What is it you want? And I ask those questions all the time to all my clients, as I mentioned. What is it you want? So they can get clear. I don't want to be trauma drama, because there's so much trauma drama. For people who are living in California, not only is there the pandemic and the virus and all of those kinds of things, but now they've got enormous amounts of forest fires that are just eating up and devastating towns and people's homes. Like, what's that about? And being able to see that from a positive perspective is, well, that's my interpretation, right? We're here to see what's all of this about, and how do I be in serenity, accept what I cannot change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. How do I find serenity when there's so much transition, especially for parents with children who are growing and changing and evolving, and it's like, how do I be with this? And they're not who they used to be, and don't know how to do any of this. And all of that is part of this spiritual immersion opportunity. So each of us raised our hands for these opportunities to say, I'll do that. I'll take that on. I think that could be fun. And we get into it, and it's like, this sucks. This sucks. I've heard when I was at the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology, where I did my PhD, and now it's Sophia University, but people would say, you signed up for this. We signed up to support and empower the world to go through the throes of transformation, which is what we're in. we signed up for this. And it's like, I don't fucking think I signed up for this. I think I tried, I think I wanted an easier path. But, you can believe what you want to in terms of if you signed up for it or not, but here you are. And so here's the question. What do you want? You want to suffer, settle, and survive? You can do that. You can keep doing that. Or you can begin to train yourself to let go of all the stuff that you don't want to let go of. The old culture, the old paradigm, the old context of how you're supposed to be, the linear, logical, rational reality. So each of us has an opportunity to go through these kinds of questioning for ourselves over and over and over again. So recently this has come up for me, and it comes up every time a new book idea comes up. I don't know if I talked about this in a previous podcast, but I get a lot of book ideas, and they're so deep that it's like, yeah, that's what I need to do. I mean, it's just like a calling. It is a calling. It's not like a calling. It's a calling to write. And the book it's like being pregnant. It's like, this is already gestating within me. And this is something that is calling me to do the work. And I know people who write or write music or are painting, they're painting what is being called to be painted. The canvas is calling for colors and shapes. The words are coming through in a particular way. The music, the sound is something that's, we're a catalyst for that. And a friend of mine was saying, so many of us are gifted. We are all gifted in essence. We are all gifted. We've all raised our hands to take on a specific something. And how we show up for that is something else. One of my clients many years ago, he wanted to be a singer. And he was just always wanted to be a singer. And he told his dad, and his dad said, "You'll never make money at that." And he shut down. And he's in his 60s now, and he still wants to sing. And he's still terrified of letting his voice be. He's so gifted, and yet he's so terrified of sharing that gift. So anyway, back to, I had this moment where it was like, oh, hey, here's this wants to get written. And it's like, oh my God, what I felt was a depletion, a deflation. And I realized this is what happens with every single book, is that the context of my reality says, oh no, this is another way for me to disappoint the world or disappoint myself in what'll show up because I've written. In a sense, I have a context about, if you write a book, the context is you make money, that you become famous, that this book will tell people just how great you are and what an expert you are at whatever. That's a context that we have about writing. And I've written 13 books. I'm now finishing up the 13th book. And it's like, I don't make that much money. I don't make, maybe $1,000 on all my books in a year right now, currently. And so the writing is not about making money. But there's a part of me that says, you're going to fail again. You're going to fail again. But it's like the calling to write is stronger than that voice. But up till now, I've had to deal with that voice and, in a sense, manage that voice while I'm writing. And it's hard work. However, as a transformational coach and one that totally believes in paradigm shifts, it's like, wait a second, I keep living in the paradigm that says I can't and I won't, as opposed to the paradigm that says, hey, I'm writing because I'm writing. This is a gift. I'm gifted, in a sense, with the ability, as my friend Margaret shared. She says, you are an artist of words. You're our word artist. And to own that, like to own it rather than going, oh, no, not really. I haven't made any money. I'm not famous. Because those things would indicate the truth, the validation that I am, if I've made money or been famous. That's not true from my writing. But the truth is, I'm gifted. I am a word artist. I put things together in such a way that, well, it makes sense to me, and the people who read it and appreciate it makes sense to them. That's all that matters. It's like looking at a painting and go, yep, that's a dog. Yep, that looks like that dog. You're right. So it's that place of in me where I diminished myself and lived in the diminishment of myself. And then eventually went, wait a minute, that's an old pattern. And in taking a nap, I'll tell you, revelations show up every time, anywhere. You just don't know where. Just stick around. But in taking a nap, I remembered all the times I called my parents with some cool news, something kind of cool, something great. Maybe I crossed the Atlantic Ocean. I got a PhD. Call them with all kinds of news. And their response was amazingly diminished. Like, oh, that's nice. Hey, how's the dog doing? Or oh, that's nice. Let me tell you about your brothers and sisters. No validation, no, I'm proud of you, nothing like that. So with the idea of something new showing up for me, going, yeah, hey, a new book, the first response is that trained response that I would get from my parents until they died, basically. I was 60, I think, when my dad died. So for my whole life, that was the trained response, was a diminished or humiliating or it doesn't matter. And so in that moment, I was able to go, wow, I was trained that doesn't matter. And I can train myself that it does matter because it matters to me. I love this relationship I have with Spirit, who gives me these ideas, who gifts me with this opportunity to explore and expand who I am through words and expand and explore what may be universal so that it makes sense and is valuable to somebody else. So the point here is that each of us raised our hands to say, I want that gift. I want that in my life. I am willing to take that on as a way of supporting and empowering the world. I want to do that one. I'll take that one. And then all the ways that we diminish and dismiss ourselves, potentially, or hide or ignore or feel humiliated, or the one of the things is in my culture where it's like, you can't be a smarty pants. You can't, you're too big for your britches kind of perspective. That's just like, that reality minimizes one's potential in the world. And I know probably 90% of us have experienced or lived in that. And it shows up in the workplace too, right? Don't get too big. Don't get too smart. Don't be who you are, basically. And so the point of these podcasts is to say, you came here to be who you are. You came to be the unique expression of you. And that's the gift. You're gifted at that. That's what I want to know, what that is. And that's what shows up with every one of my clients, is that beauty and exquisiteness of that being shows up. We have a great time. It's just such a beautiful moments that become more and more often in these partnerships. So I think that's pretty much it today. I'd love for you to be curious about where you have passions and where you have inspiration and where you're inspired in intuitive sense, but you ignore that and say, oh, I couldn't do that. Oh, because we talked about in the previous podcast about loving your work. And I think my belief is that when you're in alignment with your highest truth, your highest knowing, and those gifts that come, you're happy. You're happy. And that's what I want for you and me and everyone else. All right, I'm sending you big hugs, blessings, and bye for now.